Hello and welcome again to Prohibition University. In this series of video clips, we're going to take a look at how a person can make an alcoholic beverage called mead in the comfort of their own home. Now, mead is something that is rarely encountered if you like to visit various brew pubs in your neighborhood. There are some that do make it, but it is expensive. And one of the reasons for the rising cost of making mead comes from the world of honeybees, in which North American honeybees and apiaries are encountering something called colony collapse disorder. And scientists are equating this to the use of excessive pesticides in the agricultural community. And as a result, a lot of apiaries are finding that their bee colonies are not surviving from one season to the next. If you go to your local farmer's market, you might be a little bit shocked at how the price of honey is rising. And so put yourself in the shoes of a brew pub brewer or brew pub owner. You would have to be charging an exorbitant amount per bottle or per pint if you were making mead to serve to your clientele. So it's therefore a lot easier if you were to just make mead at home, make a 5-gallon batch, which will last you personally for a good long time. So now, to manufacture mead, it helps to start with a quick definition. By definition, a mead is an alcoholic beverage simply made using honey and water. That is the umbrella overriding definition. Now, within that overarching definition, there are two basic types of mead. There is dry mead and there is sparkling mead. Sparkling mead is what we're going to be making. That is to say, it is bottle conditioned and it will be effervescent when we pour it out of the bottle after its bottle conditioning period. So, to make mead, the first thing you need to do is get some honey. And as I say, one of the best places is your local farmer's market. And I'm going to just reach down here and show you what I've got. I've got a 5-kilogram pail. And for those of you that are not speaking metric, as I do here in Canada, this is about 11 pounds. And I've got it sitting here in some warm water to soften it up to make it easier to work with very shortly. Now, if you take your honey and your water mixture and you ferment it in the presence of a fruit, you are making a mead, but the strict textbook definition of a honey and fruit mixture is called a melomel or a melomel. If you were to take that honey mixture and brew it with spices, such as coriander perhaps, you would be making something that is called in the textbooks a methiglyn. If you were to take a grape juice, whether it's grape juice that you've bought from the store or perhaps some grape juice from a kit from your local wine store, honey plus a grape juice is called a pyment. If you were to take apple juice and combine it with your honey and ferment it, you're going to be making something called a cyser. And if that word sounds like cider, that's not an accident. Let me see what else here. Mead will typically give you an alcoholic content of between 8 and the high teens. The stuff that I make generally is between 8 and 10% alcohol, which is quite adequate for good drinking enjoyment. Now, in terms of history, archaeologists have actually discovered on pottery shards traces of yeast and honey dating back to 7000 BC in parts of northern China. And archaeologists reckon that mead found its way to Europe. They're finding in archaeological digs in Europe, in various locations, evidence that residents were making mead as early as 2000 BC. And so when you make it, there certainly is a very strong historical connection, and that's part of the fascination for me. And so what I'm going to do today, technically we're going to be making a melomel, and I could deal with actual fruit, but to make my life a lot easier, what I've done is I've gone to my local health food store, and what I've purchased is 8 jars of black cherry juice, and that saves me the mess and the fuss and the bother of having to deal with actual fruit. This juice simply is reconstituted black cherry juice, and it's got a very good taste profile to it. I have used it on occasions before, and it works very well for making mead. You're going to need water, and what I've done, as I've mentioned in previous video clips on this website, I simply have got a 10 micron carbon filter, and I have taken the tap water from my house, run it through this 10 micron carbon filter, That removes the chlorine and some of the odors that we typically associate with municipal tap water. I've got my stainless steel brew pot, and underneath it I've got my very simple heating element. And so what I've done prior to starting to film this video is I've added 1.5 gallons of water to the brew pot, and you can probably see some of the steam rising off of it here now.